Since the beginning days of hip-hop, the crew has always been important. It's a symbol of strength in numbers, from Public Enemy to TDE, or Dipset to Migos. It's undeniable that the crew is essential in hip-hop. There's nothing bigger than crew love. The Lox's history is one that began in the early 90s when the trio went to the same high school in Yonkers, New York. Sheek Louch and Jadakiss had been childhood friends, and Styles P lived across town but already knew of the duo. They became friends and formed a group named Bomb Squad. Bomb Squad would go to the studio regularly and began to put the songs that they recorded on tapes. They would then sell those tapes for $15 a piece. This elevated their popularity in their city. The youngsters signed a deal with a local production company. They also began calling themselves Warlocks around this time as well. The deal that they were locked into wasn't really in their favor. Another Yonkers MC by the name of DMX introduced Warlocks to his management team, Ruff Ryders. After some back and forth, Ruff Ryders management was able to get the group released from their contract and signed on as a management for the trio. While their music was making the rounds in Yonkers, a friend of theirs happened to be related to Mary J. Blige, who was also a Yonkers native. That friend passed their tapes over to Mary, who then passed that music off to Puff Daddy. Puff eventually crafted a deal to have Warlocks join Bad Boy Entertainment, which was the hottest label in music at the time. Bad Boy was flying high off the success of the notorious B.I.G., Lil' Kim, Craig Mack, and more. Puff, who wanted to make them as marketable as possible, took the war off of the group's name and told them that they were now known as the Lox. The Lox's time at Bad Boy catapulted their popularity with huge records like It's All About the Benjamins, 24 Hours to Live, and Money, Power, Respect, off their debut album by the same name. Unfortunately, the Lox's style of rap didn't go with Bad Boy's creative direction. In 1999, after some legal maneuvering, the Lox was released from Bad Boy. With the major success of their peer DMX, Ruff Ryders management was now a full-blown independent record label that had the attention of the whole industry. The label mirrored the Lox creatively and was a better fit for them. The Lox became Ruff Ryders and released their second album under that umbrella in 2000. The album produced more hip-hop classics like Wild Out, Blood Pressure, Ride or Die, and more. The Lox continued their careers with critically acclaimed solo and group albums and a countless amount of mixtapes. The Lox have nearly 30 years of classic music and commercially successful hits under their belts. They are considered legends of hip-hop and continue to be relevant and sought after today. In the early 90s, a group of producers called Organized Noize were on the verge of something big in Atlanta. Rico Wade, Sleepy Brown, and Ray Murray were really good at making music and everyone knew it. Working out the basement of Rico's house, otherwise called the Dungeon, they attracted some of the best talent in Atlanta. The Dungeon family consisted of a bunch of artists that would record at the Dungeon, and Organized Noize began to release those projects. Organized Noize were able to solidify a deal with MCA Records for one group called PA and released Ghetto Street Funk in 1993. Now music execs had an ear on the Dungeon family sound, and music exec L.A. Reid wanted to jump on board. Organized Noize shopped Outkast to Reid, a teen duo who are also part of the Dungeon family. Reid placed them on a Christmas album produced as a compilation for his new record label, LaFace. Outkast and Organized Noize recorded Players Ball, which wasn't really a commercial record, but it introduced rap fans to the group. Players Ball went gold as a single, and Outkast's debut album was released in April of 1994. Around this time, Organized Noize produced TLC's biggest record to date, Waterfalls. This catapulted their success, and the industry wanted to know what else the Dungeon family had to offer. The Dungeon family's next release were a group of odd young artists called Goody Mob. Their debut single, Cell Therapy, cracked the top 40 on Billboard, and their album Soul Food coined the term Dirty South. Outkast and Goody Mob's albums are regarded as the works that brought Southern hip-hop to the mainstream. The Dungeon family continued cranking out hit albums by Outkast and Goody Mob. They also produced hits for other artists like Don't Let Go for En Vogue in 1996. That record ended up on the soundtrack for the film Set It Off and was nominated for a Grammy. Eventually, CeeLo Green from Goody Mob went solo. he linked with producer Danger Mouse, creating Gnarls Barkley. The duo released a single called Crazy in 2006, winning a Grammy. Outkast is now a legendary group with classic hit songs, millions of records sold, and many awards, including Grammys and BET Awards. Among other Dungeon Family affiliates are Killer Mike, Janelle Monáe, and Future, who is actually Rico Wade's cousin. Future was part of a group produced by Organized Noize called The Connect. The group released an album in 2003. Future eventually went solo, and we all know how his career turned out. It's needless to say, but the Dungeon Family is largely responsible for Atlanta's rise in the hip-hop world. What started in the basement became a success story for the ages.